celebrations in southwest London will begin. It all started with a goal by a former gunner, Olivier Giroud. Nothing Petr Cech could do about an exquisite diving header. A penalty from Hazard. Sandwiched between that, a goal from Pedro. Those 3 in 16 minutes at the start of the second half effectively killed off Arsenal, who gave themselves hope with that excellent Iwobi volley, but then Hazard again to finish it off and make it 4-1. Certainly a night to forget for Arsenal, and a disappointing end to the career of Petr Cech, who bows out after 20 years as a professional player.
Yeah, very unfortunate ending for Arsenal's season, going down 4-1 in the Europa League final out in Baku. Massively, massively disappointing here in the Emirates Stadium. Johnny Cochran and Nigel Winterburn with me. Very, very difficult to watch, and we're gonna kick off with a tweet actually from you, the Arsenal family watching out there. We can see here had a fair share in the chances at Arsenal too. Needed a goal when they were on top in the first half. Nigel, it has to be said, we spoke about it at half-time when, unbelievably, it was still 0-0, that it swung in roundabouts. Arsenal had that period of dominance and just didn't take any chances.
No, I think, if I'm completely honest, I still thought the first half was fairly equal. I thought Chelsea were the better team at the first 10 minutes, didn't create anything, though, but had control of the ball. Arsenal were the better team for a while. Had 1 or 2 decent chances. Then Chelsea finished the half stronger and had 2 real good chances, with Cech save on Giroud being the best save. But I just cannot work out the second half performance. Arsenal just collapsed. 3 goals in 19 minutes in a cup final, you're just gone. I think from Unai Emery's point of view now he's now had a whole season to assess the squad. And there's been too many away days like this where we're all sitting here so glum and disappointed that he now knows what he's got to do with the squad. But the problem is, it's not going to happen in one it's not going to all happen in August.
No.
For Unai Emery to change the team around and bring the players in that he eventually wants into this squad and into this team, it's going to take 2 years. Because you just can't get rid of 5 or 6 players and bring 5 or 6 players in. One, because certain players are on good money that they won't move. And 2, I don't believe Arsenal at the moment are going to spend the sort of money that the overhaul of the squad clearly needs. I've been saying for the last few weeks, I haven't changed my mind, even after tonight's results, is you cannot have... It shows you something if you have a team that has been very strong at home, but away from home it's been nowhere near good enough.
Yeah. And
now Unai Emery is going to have to assess that all and say, where do I start? Where do I start to improve to get us back to being competitive? But I mean, first half was fine for me. Nothing wrong with it. We were in the game. It could have gone either way, but the second half was, I mean, best word was a debacle.
Yeah, it was a disaster.
It was terrible.
You know, and looking at it, we got the stats on screen in front of me there. We can see, 14 shots for Chelsea, 13 for Arsenal. The on target is where the difference was, 8 to Chelsea, 2 to us. 50-50 possession. It wasn't like we were blown away, Johnny, but it's just... I don't want to be super negative, but it is a typical Arsenal performance.
It's cowardly. It's cowardly. We've got massive... There's a mental fragility about this club. We sang the praises of Emery when he came in, that he might have turned the corner with the club's mentality. It hasn't happened. It hasn't. We've got to be honest. It hasn't happened. The end of the season was absolutely... It was just insipid, the way we just collapsed again. And we could have maybe excused it if we turned up in this Cup final, won the Europa, went back to Champions League, but we've not done it. And it's just so Arsenal the way that we're doing it. Let's be realistic about it. There's loads of these guys, they're not good enough. They are not good enough. There will obviously not only be questions over the players, there'll be questions over the management with regards to if we're getting it right. But if I was Emery, I'd be taking names like Arya Stark. You've got to go, you've got to go, you've got to go. Take them all out, get rid. You're not good enough.
Yeah.
You are not good enough. And the simple fact is, we're sitting here, probably the worst week in Arsenal's history if things go wrong on Saturday, and it's us who, we have to deal with this. There are players who shouldn't be at this club. Things need to change. When Joe Willock and Iwobi come on, you see players just running. There are certain players, we all know who we're talking about here, who do not put the effort in, and they're not good enough for the club.
It's obviously a hugely disappointing time for all Arsenal fans. I can only imagine what the fans out in Baku feel like right now. We've got another tweet that we can show you now. Losing is frustrating, but it was a 50-50 game on paper/form. What really annoys me is Chelsea are still in second gear and we haven't even got to the car yet. So poor, the goals have been diabolical from Arsenal's point of view. The defending... It wasn't great, was it, Nigel? I mean, if we're being honest.
No, I've said it all again. I keep reiterating what we've been looking at all season, where it hasn't changed, which is the disappointing thing, is when Arsenal are poor, we don't slow the opposition down quick enough. They play through us far too quickly, and then all the pressure gets heaped on the back four, back five. We then don't seem to be able to cope, and everyone look. Obviously, if you're a back player and you're letting in goals, you're going to take the brunt of the criticism. But also as well, if I'm in this team and I'm conceding the goals that we're conceding, I'm looking at myself, I'm looking at the team, my teammates in that back four, back five. But do you know what? To make sure that you're not completely on your own, you're looking at the players in front of you and you are demanding that they're putting themselves in positions and putting their bodies on the line to help give you a bit more protection and slow the opposition down against you. And when we are poor, as we were in the second half, the back four or back five gets exposed so easily. It's incredible. I can't explain it enough to you because, yes, we know we've come in for a lot of criticism and particularly the back players. Sometimes they do need some help.
Yeah, the structure.
All I say to you, what I was saying to you is, when I'm watching the game, slow the opposition down, make them go backwards, make them go sideways, don't let them go through you. And once we seem to have that little bit of frailties, once we concede, I'm thinking, don't concede again for 15 minutes. The game's still there, and then all of a sudden, 2, 3, and you're thinking, this is embarrassing. And this is why then everybody gets so upset, because you're in every game, let alone a cup final. Once you concede, make sure you stay in the game.
Yeah, and then what makes it all the more frustrating is we went down the other end. Iwobi scored a lovely goal. It has to be said, a fantastic finish. And then instead of even at 3-1, that is a big ask to score 2 more goals against Chelsea in what was 25 minutes to go or something like that. Then to concede again down the other end is just infuriating. But, if we're trying to zoom out a little bit here and have a look at the bigger picture, and I know it's hard straight after a really, really disappointing final loss, the Arsenal ladies, if we look at the Arsenal women, that was a 6-year project. When the current manager took over, that was a 6-year project, and now they've just won the league. I know we won't get the same amount of time in the men's game. It just can't happen like that. But we do have to give Unai Emery and the new Arsenal team a little bit more time. We can't be rash with this, because I know there'll be, on social media, I know already, I haven't had a look, but I know already there'll be loads of people on social media saying all kinds of different things because they're disappointed. But we need to give this structure more time.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is of course, anyone who's coming in after this long after Arsene Wenger, they were always going to have a big job on their hand. And for me, one of the things I just explained, there is a mentality issue which is a long-running one. And for me, I don't think we're going to see the back of until the majority of the squad is turned over in terms of players. I do believe that. But my issue is, or the issue that I think will really start to bubble up again on social media, is that you have to see progression in the right way. And I feel that some of the areas of progression that we kind of latched onto early on now don't look to be there, because we need to start seeing checkpoints develop, because whilst we've done nothing this year, obviously, but by next year we have to get in the Champions League, and now it's an even harder task. So we are not going to get 6 years in the men's game. There's not going to be 6 years worth of patience. Not going to happen. So next year becomes so important now that it's an absolute minimum requirement that we seriously progress now. And Champions League football, I don't really see any other way now because because of the way we've finished that season.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, listen, it's obviously very, very disappointing tonight. And you want to, when a new manager comes in, you want to look and see some progression. For me, this year, for Unai Emery, with the resources that he had in terms of players that he could bring in, was always a season that was going to be, for me, evaluate the squad. So now he's evaluated the squad for a season. Now he's got to start turning the cog to make the changes. But he won't. He's not going to get 6 years. But you should give him the respect and say, this is the manager we brought in. We wanted a change, or the supporters wanted a change. They wanted see a different way. And I think they're now actually seeing that it's a lot harder than just changing your manager, and the switch is going to change and everything's going to be perfect. You've got to give this manager some time, and then you've got to see those gradual changes. It's very difficult because in the modern game we want to see it straight away, 2-3 games. Yeah. I've said to you, I've said all along, ever since I've sat here with the new manager come in, for me, this is at least a 3-year project. We're only into it 1 year.
The one thing though, Nigel, is defensively though, I appreciate it is a difficult job for Emery, it really is. But for where we are defensively after a year of being at this, we have got to get better. This is the defending at times from Arsenal, it is a mess. And, our defence has got worse. I didn't think that was possible after last year, but it looks like it's got worse. So I understand that, look, there are only a certain amount of cups you can win. There's only 4 places in the Champions League you can get. But you can't keep defending like this and keep the goodwill, because we've got to see solutions come for the defending now.
Yes, so you look, when you look at the defending, first you look individually, second you look collectively as a back 4, as a back 5, and then thirdly you look as a team. So if you're saying, I've got my team shape absolutely right and everybody in front of the back 4, back 5 is doing absolutely everything they can to stop us conceding a goal before we get through to our defenders, fair enough. Then you look at the back players and go, are they working together as a unit? Are they putting the body on the line for the team? And are they covering one another? And I think at the moment we're so focused on the back 4 and back 5. Yes, it probably needs changes, but in saying that, we lost Bellerin and we probably lost our most consistent centre half in Rob Holding. But it still hasn't been, that's not an excuse. It's not good enough. But I still say, and I keep reiterating, there is not enough protection in front of the back 4 / back 5, depending on how we play, for a top team like Arsenal. Yes, it's probably been there for the last few seasons, and that's why I'm saying to you that you've got to. We're all so angry about what's happened tonight, but you've got to give the manager more time. What did we bring in? We've only Socrates, who started tonight, is the only player that's come in.
Torreira.
Torreira came in, yeah. So you've got 2 players, So we don't. What we're doing is we're guessing and thinking, how many players does this manager, would he, if he could swap everybody if he wanted to, how many would he want to keep?
Yeah.
And that's what we don't know. That's what I'm saying. Next season I think will give us a much clearer picture of where Arsenal are going, and hopefully we won't be sitting here saying the same things, else I think then we will be in trouble.
Yeah, hopefully this time next year it will be a totally different story. Johnny, thank you very much, mate. Nigel, you as well. I'm sure you'll be with us next season for more Arsenal Nation, as will you, hopefully. Make sure you join us for the pre-season. We'll be here for some of the pre-season games, but as well as the next full season. We'll see you then. Enjoy the rest of your evening.